Hi guys, it's me ShazzleHD and welcome to this stream where we're going to be tonight previewing some of the second pre-season test, which of course starts tomorrow and it goes over Thursday, Friday and Saturday. We'll be getting into some talking points when it comes to the test and getting into some interesting rumours when it comes to that test, and also getting into the big news at Haas F1, which we'll get into in a moment. But yeah, great to be back of course for another stream. And thankfully, we're only, well, of course, a day away from testing, you know, being live on TV and being able to cover that for you guys. But thankfully, only, what, a week or so away from the Formula 1 season itself getting underway. Cannot wait for that, of course, in Bahrain in just over a week's time. Testing is going to be very, very interesting in the next few days. And yeah, in this stream, we'll kind of get into what we could see in testing. Hopefully you guys are doing well, and hopefully you know, no matter what part of the world you're from, whether, you know, bad things happening, good things are happening, hopefully you're having the best time you could possibly be having given your current circumstances. And great to see you guys here as usual. But unfortunately, when I planned this stream a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of hoping for a bit more news than we've actually got, so I'm only really going to cover a couple things in this stream. We'll cover, again, the situation at Haas F1 first up. Then we'll get into the second test and what we could see from a certain couple teams in terms of upgrades, developments, you know, stuff like that, the second preseason test. And then, at the end of this stream, because again, there's not been that much news and there isn't that much to talk about as much as I was hoping for, I will get into, at the end of this stream, what the schedule is for content on this channel when it comes to the second pre-season test, which again starts tomorrow and is on Thursday, Friday and Saturday of this week. So I'll get onto that later on, but we'll first start at Haas F1, of course. And of course, like I talked about my last live stream, which was a review of the first pre-season test, I pretty much said that Nikita Mazepin was most likely going to lose his seat at Haas F1 because of the ongoing situation in Ukraine when it comes to Russia, of course, invading that country. Because of Nikita Mazepin, of course, his ties, his father, who is a Russian oligarch, and, you know, Mazepin was just never going to keep that seat. And given the rhetoric and sanctions we've seen from so many international bodies, whether it be in sports or just anything, Mazepin keeping his seat was never really going to happen. So him losing his seat is not really a surprise. He has been, you know, disappointed by this. He has kind of been a bit spiteful in a way when it comes to, you know, him being dropped. And I can understand him being disappointed because, yes, it doesn't have anything to do with him. But given his ties to his father, and then given his father's ties to Vladimir Putin, there's no way Nikita Mazepin was going to be able to stay on the grid given the current climate in the world. So Mazepin off the grid. To be honest, I mean, I don't know what he's like as a person. I don't really think he is that great of a person, to be honest, given what I've seen from him with certain stuff. I think you guys will know what I'm talking about with that. But as a driver, he's probably been the worst driver in F1 since UGE Day back in 2006. Maybe even further than that. But honestly, he was absolutely terrible in 2021 and had more spins in the 2021 season than he actually had race starts. That describes to you just how bad Nikita Mazepin was last season and how bad his Formula 1 career was in general. Yeah, the car wasn't good last season, but even if the car was decent enough to be contending for points, I don't think Mazepin would have been any good either. He just isn't good enough for Formula 1, so it's not really that bad of a thing, Mazepin not being on the grid. Now, his replacement, as I was setting this stream up, it looked as though it was between Pietro Fittipaldi, who of course is connected to the Haas team and I think is a Haas reserve driver. There was talk of Oscar Piastri, Nico Hulkenberg, drivers like this, as to, you know, who could replace Nikita Mazepin. A couple of days ago, Haas came out and said that they were looking for someone with experience, so that's what started maybe some rumours around Nico Hulkenberg possibly coming back into Formula 1 to race for Haas. But it has been, guys, in the last 2 hours, announced who will be taking over from Nikita Mazepin's seat. And it is the return of this man, Kevin Magnussen, to Formula 1. Pretty good decision, I would say. And honestly, I was thinking about it in the last 2 or 3 days. You know, who could they realistically go for if they want someone who is quick but also experienced? Really and realistically, Kevin Magnussen was the only real option. Yes, Nico Hulkenberg, you could argue, was also an option. But given that, you know, K-Mag, he has raced for Haas before, has a great relationship with the people at Haas, given that he raced for them for 4 seasons and probably is the best driver the team's ever had, given what we've seen from him in 2018, 2019 especially. So I think it's a good decision for them. Mick Schumacher and Kevin Magnussen as a driver lineup is, I'd say, pretty good. And even if the car is not that quick and is contending with, say, Alfa Romeo, the last place on the grid, I think you can rely on Kevin and Mick Schumacher getting the most out of the car, because they are both very quick, especially when it comes to pace over a single lap. So I think this is a very good decision. Definitely an improvement, of course, on Nikita Mazepin. And to be honest, I think Magnussen, it was a bit harsh him losing his seat. I mean, I understand why he lost his seat at the end of 2020, you know, going into 2021. I understand why he lost his seat, because Haas were, you know, needing that money from the Russian sponsorship that Nikita Mazepin's father, Dmitry, you know, was bringing in to the team. And that's why, of course, Nikita Mazepin got the seat. But I thought Kevin Magnussen, again, if you look at 2018, 2019, I thought he did pretty well, considering the team and the car wasn't always, you know, the greatest, especially in 2019. But in 2020 especially, I actually thought Kevin did a pretty good job that season, considering the car was pretty poor. So, yeah, I think, honestly, he deserves to be back on the grid. I know sometimes he does, you know, act a bit wild. He's a bit of a wild boy, I guess you could say. But if you look at his pace, he absolutely deserves to be in Formula 1. He's definitely quick enough for this series. When it comes to testing, though, I'm still not quite sure what the setup is, because I don't know if Magnussen is going to be doing all of the second test with the team, or whether Pietro Fittipaldi is going to be doing some of the testing. I don't know, you know, where Kevin Magnussen is. Maybe he's not going to be in Bahrain until Friday or Saturday, so maybe he won't actually be able to get out there, you know, as soon as possible. But we'll have to see on that. But I guess you could say it's a bit disappointing for Fittipaldi, but I don't think really Pietro has proven that he is good enough for Formula 1, so not really that shocking of a decision. When it comes to testing, though, for Haas F1, they're having a bit of issues when it comes to this second test in Bahrain. And they're actually, by the looks of it, going to miss, I'd say most likely, the entire first day of the second test. And the reason this is because they have had transport issues. They've had a breakdown of some of their equipment in Istanbul, and they've had, I think, their freight being held up in England due to issues. So Haas F1, I think they've even confirmed they won't be running in the morning of the second pre-season test, but they will, or they are hoping, rather, to be running in the afternoon. But to be honest, given that most likely they won't have all of their stuff there for the afternoon, I don't think they will be running in the afternoon. I think most likely what they'll do is they will go, go racing. They'll get out there probably on Friday and Saturday instead, and probably just use Thursday to, get set up and forget really about testing on that day, which is a shame for them because, of course, you know, the track time is vital at this part of the season, but not really a surprise, is it, for this type of team to be in this type of situation. And just when it comes to, before we get on to the second test more so, when it comes to other teams and kind of previewing that, when it comes to the Mazepin situation, it isn't totally dead and buried because, of course, Nikita Mazepin's father, Dmitry Mazepin, owns a company called Uralkali. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not entirely sure on the pronunciation, but that is the name of the company that, of course, was the title sponsor of Haas F1 going into this season and, of course, was last season. And, of course, they are not happy that their sponsorship has been, or the sponsorship agreement has been terminated, and, you know, Nikita Mazepin is not going to be on the grid for this season. So they have had quite the response to Haas F1. So expect this to rumble on quite a bit. Let's just go to it now. So this is their statement. Uralkali intends to protect its interests in line with applicable, if I can pronounce that right, legal procedures, and reserves its rights to initiate, I think I've spelled initiate wrong, sorry about that, initiate judicial proceedings, claim damages, and seek repayment of the significant amounts Uralkali has paid for the 2022 Formula 1 season, as most of the sponsorship funding for the 2022 season has already been transferred to Haas, and given that the team terminated the sponsorship agreement before the first race of 2022, or of the 2022 season, Haas has thus failed to perform its obligations to Uralkali for this year's season. And then the sponsor says they shall request the immediate reimbursement of the amounts received by Haas F1. Again, sorry for the spelling on a couple words in there on the retyping of the statement. But basically, they want all the money back that went to Haas F1 because, of course, when it comes to each season, the sponsors for each team will pay the team, the sum for that year that they're going to be, sponsoring the team for the year. So, yeah, this is not a good situation for Haas. It really, really is not, because if they are on the tightrope, let's say, without this funding, if they're on the tightrope financially, it could really get very, very rocky for this team in the next couple of years if they can't, one, find a new title sponsor or some kind of sponsor that can fill in some of the gap financially that this Russian sponsor would have helped with. So, yeah, this really does need to be resolved in the next few months at the very, very latest, because it could lead, and I think we've seen it even with other businesses and sports teams in the past, when it comes to this type of stuff, it can lead to a sports team or racing team getting closer to being out of business, really, when it comes to a particular series or league or whatever you want to call it. So this situation for Haas F1 has got to get resolved as soon as possible, because if it doesn't, it's going to affect them quite a bit in this coming year, and it's probably going to be, if this team does pull off the grid in the next couple of years due to financial problems or anything like that, this is probably going to be what causes that to happen. Of course, the whole situation when it comes to F1 basically boycotting Russian businesses and all of that stuff, it's an unfortunate situation for the Haas team, but at the end of the day, they have no choice but to remove the sponsorship. And at the end of the day, I think they knew what they were getting into when it came to this sponsorship deal, given the sponsor and their ties to the Russian presidency. So, yeah, I don't think really I can feel massively sorry for them, if I'm being totally honest. But yeah, not looking great at the moment, I have to say, for Haas F1. But let's now go on to kind of previewing the second pre-season test. And I would say at the moment, this team, Mercedes F1, has the most speculation or rumours around them at the moment when it comes to what we could possibly see from them at the second pre-season test, because there's been lots of rumours and basically confirmation that they were going to bring for this second test, which of course starts tomorrow, that they were going to bring a massive new upgrade package to update their car to its real 2022 spec. And there's been some interesting ideas floated out there as to what these certain upgrades are going to be. And it appears we also have confirmation of those certain upgrades. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do a screen share in a moment, because I'm going to quickly show, what do you call it? I'm going to quickly show a couple of these rumors or, you know, discussions about this type of stuff that we've seen online. So let me just get this up if I can. Just need to remember which one is screen share. Is it this one? I think so. You guys can see this on your screen. Let me just update that. And I assume you guys can now see this. By the way, just to let you guys know, I have created, again, a Twitter account. You can see in the bottom leftish here. I now have a Twitter account. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, for updates as to, you know, when I go live or upload videos, then make sure, if you do have a Twitter account, to follow me on Twitter. You can see that it's at ChazHD5. It is also in the description down below if you want to find out the exact @ that I am at. So yeah, if you want to follow me, then make sure to do so. But we're here on the Craig Scarborough Twitter page. And yeah, let's just quickly get into this Mercedes thing. Now, the rumour is that Mercedes were going to turn up to second preseason test with much slimmer side pods, and Craig Scarborough did a concept of this, and you can see here the front-facing angle, and it is I have to say, a mental-looking idea when you see these type of concepts. And I think here's a side picture as well, just showing, I guess, what the concept of it would be. And then he also, with this tweet, he says, turns out the rumours of the all-new radiator package and side pod less design were all true. And again, displaying that here. But also, and I'll just quickly click off the screen share, because I do actually have a picture that compares this side pod difference. Let me just try and get that up on screen for you guys, and I can show you this side pod, or new side pod, that they have. So here it is, and let me just pull it up here. So I think, if I'm right, because Nib on my Discord sent me this, I believe the top image is the older Mercedes car from the first pre-season test, I believe, in Barcelona, and you can see there's a bit of a bulge around the, say, more front part of the side pod, the part of the side pod that is the furthest forward on the car. But then when I scroll down, you can see the difference between the two, and it is definitely a lot slimmer. And I have to say, honestly, it looks really, really nice. The slimmer look on the side pod, and you can just see there the differences. It looks, honestly, very, very nice. So yeah, it's not even really a rumor. It's pretty much true when it comes to what this talk has been about, which has been out there in the media in the last couple of days. Also, I am going to just quickly screen share again to read out some more news from Twitter for you guys, and we'll go to this page. Also, this person, very, very good at updating news when it comes to Formula One. Just posting here is Tammy about I think the driver lineups for tomorrow. You can see there. Was it Guan Yu Zhao in the morning, Bottas in the afternoon, Vettel in the morning, Stroll in the afternoon, Hamilton in the morning, Perez will be driving the Red Bull tomorrow, Leclerc in the morning, Sainz in the afternoon. But there's also some other news when it comes to other teams and upgrades. You can see here, Ferrari, and we've seen Binotto kind of confirm this. He confirmed it kind of in Barcelona a couple weeks ago. But Ferrari will not, as it says, the tweet, Ferrari will not show radical changes to the car before Australia. The F175 performed well in Barcelona, so Ferrari will try to get the car to the limit of its potential. A new floor with some aerodynamic changes will be used in testing this week. And what that kind of goes on about is something Binotto, of course their team boss, talked about at the end of testing in Barcelona, where what he basically said was they're not going to be bringing any major upgrades to the car in Bahrain, or at least, for the second test, because what he said the plan was to firstly optimize the car before throwing, a lot of development on it. And what that means is they want to get to a point where they get the setup right, they know how they need to set the car up to get the most out of it, and just know how it performs on low fuel, softer tyres and all of that. They want to make sure they get it to, get the car to the point where they are confident and know exactly what they are dealing with in 2022 before they start upgrading it, which I think is a good thing to do. Maybe it won't result in them being, say, the quickest team at the start of the season, because if Mercedes' new upgrades really work for them, then Ferrari could end up on the back foot compared to them. But really, Mercedes and Red Bull, they're always going to be more confident, I think, at the moment in what they have, because they've been front-running teams for so long. I guess you could, say the same about Ferrari, because Ferrari have only been a midfield kind of team for 2 years. But I think with Ferrari, they're not the most confident, or as confident as Mercedes and Red Bull. Mercedes and Red Bull, again, they have the confidence to just, without quite knowing how quick they really are yet, bolt on a load of new upgrades to the car. When with Ferrari, I think they want to know absolutely for sure how the car works, and that, they then want to get to the point where they want to know what the weaknesses are, then they can address those. When, again, Mercedes and Red Bull, I think, are a little more confident in what they have. I'll go back to Twitter. Obviously, all the drivers showing support for Ukraine, and more stuff here. Many teams want to show up in Bahrain with major upgrades. Some solutions could be in the grey area of the regulations. The FIA is afraid of outwash elements. We'll see what happens with that. And then here is, again, a continuation of the rumours about Mercedes. Rumours is circulating in the Italian media that the Mercedes car will show some revolutionary features both under the bonnet and in the aerodynamics. It's rumoured that the engineers have built a car that is practically without side pods. We will see tomorrow, which is what I kind of showed you a moment ago. By the way, very good gesture this by Ferrari, donating €1 million to Ukrainians. And then, the last bit I want to get onto when it comes to this is this part, which is Red Bull talking about, they expect Mercedes' upgrade to be massive, but also getting into what they are going to do. And it just says here, most of the changes or upgrades to the Red Bull should be visible to everyone. The new parts are not expected directly for the test start, and Red Bull are going to add these new parts to the car gradually. And also it says McLaren will bring some upgrades to Bahrain as well. And also, going back to Ferrari and, talking about, their plan when it comes to upgrading their car. But also, again, confirming what I was talking about a moment ago, saying our car is generally behaving well and as expected. It won't look much different in Bahrain than it did in Barcelona. For us, it's about optimizing the package and getting everything out of it. There is still a lot in it. Also, as far as the drivers are concerned, which, again, I think is probably the right approach to find out what they have and to work around that. And hopefully, of course, Ferrari will have the best car, or one of the best cars, for the season, because it would be really great for the season if Ferrari had a car that was, good enough to at least be in a position like they were in Monaco or Baku or Silverstone back in 2021, where they could take on Mercedes or Red Bull or both and give them a real run for their money. That's what we want to see. And also, we want to see McLaren up there and repeat what they did at Monza and even Monaco themselves, being up there contending with the front-running teams. That is what I preferably want for this season. Those 4 teams all competing for the top 4 positions. I think Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, I think those 3 at least competing for the championship would be good enough. And, if McLaren are also in there, I think that'd be pretty much the maximum you would expect in terms of the amount of teams fighting for a championship, to be honest. Because if you look at F1 history, it's very rare you get 4 separate teams competing for the championship. I think maybe if you go back to the 1980s, you'll, see an example of that. But yeah, in the last 15, 20 years, normally been 2 teams, or in the odd year, 3 teams competing for glory. But pretty much that is, guys, all of the news, really, from the last week or so going into this second test. Again, not as much news as I really would have hoped for, which is why this stream is not going to be that long. Sorry about that, but again, not much to talk about. But thankfully, we will have a lot to go over in the next 3 days. And I'm going to end the stream getting into my schedule for the next 3 days. So again, pre-season testing starts tomorrow at 7 AM UK time and ends at 4 PM UK time for each day. So now let me get into what my, streaming schedule will be for this weekend, or not this weekend, but for the rest of this week. So tomorrow is the 10th of March, if you did not know. And then, tomorrow, I will be live for the final 2 hours of day 1, which is probably going to be the most interesting part of day 1, to be honest. So I think, that's going to be probably the best time. If I'm going to do a stream at any part of the day, it's going to be, the best time is going to be then. So I will be live, again, 2 till 4 PM at the end, or again, final 2 hours of day 1. Then, at 7 PM UK time tomorrow evening, I will be doing a live review of what happened on day 1. Then on Friday, the 11th of March, which again is this Friday, I will be live again for the final 2 hours of day 2. Then again, at 7 PM UK time on Friday night, I will be live to review day 2 of the second test. Then on day 3, the final day of testing, I will be live for quite a bit longer than I will be on the first 2 days of the second test. On day 3, which is Saturday the 12th of March, again, this Saturday, I will be live from 11:30 AM, which is about half an hour before the afternoon session begins, until 4 PM, which of course is when the day's running finishes. I'll get onto in a moment why the watch along times are not exactly the same for each day. And then again, on Saturday night, after the day's testing, I will review what happened on day 3, and that will also serve pretty much that stream. The second test day 3 review will serve pretty much, like I said, as a review of testing. Now, the reason on day 1 and day 2, I'm only covering the final 2 hours of the day, and then on day 3, I'm doing all of the afternoon session. One is because I don't expect really the teams to really start pushing hard until the final day, which is why I'm going to cover more of the final day of testing than I am the first 2 days, where I think they will start to definitely push harder, and definitely in that final 2 hour part of the day, I think you'll see the teams pushing quite a bit harder than certainly they were in Barcelona. But the second and probably the biggest reason is that, of course, Thursday and Friday are work days and Saturday is a weekend day. So, yeah, most likely people, you know, my subscribers or just viewers in general on Thursday and Friday are going to be at work and school or, you know, whatever. Which is why I'm only doing the final 2 hours of day 1 and day 2. Because, again, people aren't as likely to watch earlier in the day on work days or on weekdays than they would be on the weekend. So that is the schedule for testing this week, and altogether you're looking at just trying to think how long, about 10 hours of streaming for the rest of this week, at least, maybe 11 hours, and I am definitely looking forward to it. I think we're going to have some interesting talking points coming out of this test. I don't think it will be, say, the same looking type of order that we saw in Barcelona. I mean, I think Ferrari and McLaren, for example, will still look pretty good, but I don't think it will be as looking as good for them. And I think you'll see Mercedes and Red Bull looking certainly stronger. There'll also be some teams in the midfield that I think will probably look a bit stronger, especially Alpine, who are going to be bringing, I think, a lot of new upgrades to this second test. So I think we're definitely going to see a bit of a new order compared to what we saw in Barcelona. And this will be pretty much, especially when we get to the final day of testing day 3, we're pretty much going to see the final, you know, 2022 cars, because I mean there will be upgrades probably for the first Grand Prix, which of course is the weekend after, but it won't be anything massive. It's going to be small upgrades that maybe only give the teams a tenth of a second, which is not exactly in Formula 1 groundbreaking. So I think we're going to see definitely some interesting talking points coming out of testing this week, and I cannot wait, honestly, for testing. Hopefully you guys can join me for all of this streaming and all of this action coming for the rest of this week. Be great to have you along for those watch-alongs. Nib, also my co-commentator, will be joining me at some point in one of these 3 watch-alongs. We just haven't decided which one is going to be on yet. Most likely, I'd probably say day 2, to be honest. Maybe we could get him on for day 3, but I'd probably say day 2 is the one at the minute I'm looking at to get him on. So yeah, I think we'll try and get him on sometime during the rest of the week's streams, because I know he'll have a lot to say when it comes to what's going on in testing, and will also be able to give his insight as to what is going on as well. So yeah, hopefully you guys can join me for that. And again, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and for that content coming over the next 3 days. 3 very important days in the Formula 1 season. Bottom right of the screen, you can subscribe right there, or just go to my channel page and subscribe then. And whilst you're there, hit the notifications bell. Don't forget as well, smash the like button and share this video and channel everywhere you can. And yeah, that is pretty much, guys, the end of this stream. And hopefully, like I said, I will see you for those watch-alongs for the rest of this week. And I will be again live tomorrow at 2 PM UK time for the final 2 hours of day one. And then again live later tomorrow at 7 PM UK time to cover the events of day one and all of the talking points when it comes to day one as well. So hopefully I'll see you guys for that. Like I said a few moments ago, or a few minutes ago, again, I've created or recreated my Twitter account. Be great to have you following me on Twitter. It's at ChazHD5. If you want to see the exact @ it is down below in the description. Again, it'd be great for you to follow me on Twitter. Most importantly, so you can keep up to date with when I go live and when I upload videos, or if there's any issue with, you know, my schedule, as I call it, then you can, you know, check my Twitter to see what is going on. I was going to plug something else as well. Oh, that's it. Also below in the description, my last 2 videos, I uploaded a recorded video yesterday and one on Monday as well. The one on Monday was me ranking the best car liveries for 2022. So make sure to go and watch that after this stream finishes. And give your thoughts and let me know in the comment section of that video what is your top 10 list when it comes to the car liveries, and which is the best, which is the worst. Let me know in the comments of that video. And the other one is me predicting the driver lineups for the 2023 F1 season. And I think when you watch it, you'll be a bit surprised with what I go with for the driver lineups. I know Nib was very surprised with what I went with. So if you want to see what I went with, then make sure to click on the link in the description down below. And whilst you're there and watching the video, also let me know in the comment section down below what you think the driver lineups will be for all of the teams in 2023. And I guess I could also probably announce that I'm starting to do recorded videos again. I'm currently working on another video. This other video is about the Haas team, which is kind of about the current situation, but it's mostly about, you know, where are they heading and what is their future, I guess you could say. I don't know when this video is going to be out. It might not be out until after the first race. We'll have to see, but I am currently working on that. Hopefully I can get it out for some time next week. We'll have to see. But yeah, I'm also working on that, and I am going to be bringing back recorded videos for this year. But yeah, that's all the content, guys, on the channel right now. This is all the content coming up later this week. And yeah, that's it for this stream. And until the rest of the streams this week and the rest of the content and the second pre-season test in Bahrain starting tomorrow morning, guys, it has been me, ChazHD. Goodbye.